Thank you all for being here today to honor such a wonderful man and honorable police officer. On behalf of the Tacoma Police Department, we extend our heartfelt condolences to Jake's family, his daughters, Antonio, Gabby, and Victoria, and the rest of his family members. It has been my honor and privilege to get to know many of you during this past week as we prepared to come together to pay our final tribute to Jake's life. Over the course of Jake's career, he has meant so much to his Tacoma police family and to our community that he served. Officer Reginald Jake Gutierrez joined the Tacoma Police Department on July 6, 1999. It wasn't long after Jake joined the police department that it was obvious that he was going to turn out to be a very respected and productive police officer. Jake had an inherent desire to serve and help others and commitment to make a positive influence on the lives of everyone he came into contact with. As a recruit officer, Jake was somewhat of a late bloomer at times. Every one of us in this room that has a uniform and a badge on has had to go through that time of called probation. So did Jake. We have our ups and downs during that period of time, and Jake was no exception. In fact, early in his field training career, he ran a red light with his FTO in the car. That's not a good sight, to see a patrol car go through a red light. And yes, he was dinged for it. But it gave his FTO a mentoring moment. And he stressed to Jake that vehicle operation and traffic safety is an ultimate, paramount priority for the city of Tacoma, especially when your field training officer is in the car. Despite that slight incident, his training officers were impressed with his desire to learn and his enthusiastic, positive attitude. They described him as being very friendly and open, and he always represented himself in the department with the highest degree of professionalism. In his final probation report as a recruit officer, his sergeant noted, and I quote, "Officer Gutierrez is a pleasure to work with. He comes to work each day with a smile on his face and a pleasant disposition," unquote. It was because of his positive attitude and enthusiasm that Jake grew into the officer that the department and the community came to know and love. As I prepared myself for today, I had the opportunity to meet with members of Jake's squad and spend some time talking about Jake and what he was like as a squad member, a friend, and a police officer. It wasn't long before I picked up on several common themes during the course of our discussion. As we already heard, Jake was a protector. He was compassionate. He was caring. He was generous to a fault. And he took care of his squad mates as he would his own family. Jake was described as a hero, as diplomatic, as non-judgmental. Jake had a high level of respect for all people, and he wanted to make a positive impact on everybody that he came into contact with. Jake was a person that everyone wanted on their squad. Each squad mate had their own stories about Jake that illustrated exactly who he was and what he meant to the community. One of the stories they shared with me was about a time that Jake was dispatched to a call involving a suicidal woman that was ready to jump off a nearby bridge. Jake arrived first and was able to speak to the woman for several minutes. He said to her, "I know how you feel. When I feel this way, I want a quarter pounder and fries. Would you like one?" The woman pondered for a moment, and eventually came off the ledge, came down, and Jake actually went out and bought her a quarter pounder and fries. That's a testament to his character. With each story and memory, it became more and more clear that, quite simply, Jake wanted to help people. And when he couldn't help someone, it affected him. I learned about one of his last calls involving a troubled young man. Jake spent quite a bit of time telling him his own story as he grew up, poor, and made something of himself despite those circumstances. Jake was bothered that he didn't seem to reach that young man that day. The next day, he told his partner he was bothered because he felt that this was the first kid that he did not have an impact on. It was clear. Jake wasn't satisfied with simply responding to calls. He wanted to make a difference in the lives of those he came into contact with, especially our younger folks. It should come to no surprise that throughout Jake's distinguished career, he received dozens of letters from citizens of praise and recognition for his exemplary work performance and for his dedication and service to our community. Many of the letters of praise came from grateful citizens from whom Jake helped in their time of need. And letters from citizens are particularly meaningful because when a citizen takes the time to send an officer a written note of thanks and appreciation, the gesture truly comes from the heart. Even on the most routine calls, he truly cared about the people he came into contact with. And when he was aware that a person or family needed additional assistance or care, Jake always took the extra time to help them out. One particularly memorable letter was written by a mother praising Jake for his concern and his care and concern during his investigation of a family dispute. The mother related that even though her son was arrested, Jake treated everyone involved with dignity and respect, including her son, and that he thoroughly explained the steps that were being followed along the way. The mother shared that by taking the time to explain the circumstances to their entire family, it helped ease the tension and stress that the family was experiencing. In addition to the numerous letters of commendation, Jake earned several departmental awards for his service and acts of bravery. In January 2000, for example, Jake was the recipient of the department's Medal of Merit for his role in taking a homicide suspect into custody from a residence in our city's South End. He is recognized for his use of sound judgment and tactics for placing himself in harm's way to protect others. Jake was also a recipient of our department's Award of Merit in 2005 for his response and role in the active shooter situation that took place at our Tacoma Mall. Jake was acknowledged for his extraordinary acts of bravery and exhibited true selflessness by placing his own safety in peril to provide protection and preservation of life for those around him. In October of 2006, Jake and his partner received the Award of Merit for successfully convincing a distraught young man from jumping off a bridge in an apparent suicide attempt. This was a very tense and evolving situation that Jake and his partner were able to resolve with a very positive outcome. As a result, Jake was recognized for his ability to effectively diffuse the situation and calm the young man during his interactions with him. And Jake earned the team unit citation, along with other members of the department's disorder response team, in his role as a team member amidst large protracted protests against military equipment being shipped out of the port of Tacoma. Jake and the team were recognized and commended for the professional manner by which the team handled all aspects of the protest activities, ensuring the safety and security of everyone involved. Jake meant so much to our TPD family and to our community. But first and foremost, he was a father, a brother, an uncle, a son, and a fiance. I had a great enlightening conversations with his three wonderful daughters, Antonia, Gabriella, and Victoria, his sister Antoinette, his nephew Antonio, and his fiancée Becky. It was obvious from my conversations with each of you they had a positive and pivotal impact on your lives, which is why you all knew he would make a very good police officer. As a father myself to two daughters, I can see why his daughters looked up to him. What really struck me is that it made no difference when I was talking to the TPD family or Jake's family. Jake was Jake. His strength of character was something he took with him in all aspects of his life. He was true to who he was on a daily basis, at home, and in our community and with his partners. He treated everyone like family, and it is what made him the wonderful person that he was. When a law enforcement officer dies in a line of duty, it not only has a profound impact on the law enforcement community, but also has a profound impact on the community for which that officer served. And I can tell you without a doubt, the senseless death of Officer Jake Gutierrez has had a profound impact on the community he served. This past Sunday afternoon, I noticed a young family placing flowers gently onto the growing memorial in front of our headquarters in honor of Jake. After they said a short prayer, I approached and thanked them for their kind gesture and for their support. The parents told me that they were sorry for our loss and that they were there to show their children what community is all about. And they were there to pay their respects to our fallen officer. To me, this is a very touching gesture and a testament of what we've seen throughout our entire community. Similarly, all of us on the department have been amazed, overwhelmed, and filled with gratitude by the outpouring of support that we have received and continue to receive from our citizens of Tacoma and beyond. Out of this tragic loss, our community has been brought together as a means of healing together and to honor our fallen officer, Jake, together. We are very humbled by the many acts of kindness and support that have been expressed in so many ways throughout our community. On behalf of the men and women of the Tacoma Police Department, to the community we serve, thank you. Thank you for your incredible support and for coming together to honor one of Tacoma's finest. I would like to publicly acknowledge and thank all of the representatives of the local, state, and federal local law enforcement agencies who were there for us from the beginning by providing valuable resources and other means of support as we work through this very difficult time. It is truly comforting to know that in a time of need, we can count on each other. I'd also like to take this moment to recognize the emergency room staff at Tacoma General Hospital, our Tacoma Fire Department, and South 911, the men and women that serve at South 911, for all their support throughout this last week and a half. And I know they don't want to take credit, but I'm going to give them credit anyway. Behind the badge, in the Pierce County Incident Management Team, thank you for all the great work that you did in support of Jake's family, in our department, in our community. We could not have done this without you. Thank you very much. To the members of the Tacoma Police family, I want to take this moment to recognize, commend, and thank each of you for your unwavering commitment to duty and service during this very hard time. These past 10 days have been challenging in many ways for all of us and our families. But despite that, we all came together, worked together, and supported each other along the way. This is a testament to your character and to the commitment you have toward each other and to our community. Jake would be very proud of you. Thank you. And to Jake's family, I want you to know that Jake served the citizens of Tacoma with great dignity, compassion, and respect. He always represented himself, the Tacoma Police Department, and the entire law enforcement profession with the highest degree of honor and selflessness, putting the lives of others ahead of his own as he dedicated his life to serving and protecting others. Thank you for your wonderful support of him as he carried out his calling of being a police officer. Jake will be remembered as a hero, and he will never be forgotten for his ultimate sacrifice.